Good evening, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. As you can see, I'm going to give you an assignment. You have a mission. Everybody talks about this MCO, MSO in regards to these motor vehicles. And I want everybody to do myself and yourself a favor in looking up all your products and all the paperwork that you get from your stereo equipments, your recreational equipment, your motorbikes, your mini bikes, quad fours, canoes, kayaks, TVs, air conditioners, washers, dryers, anything that has any kind of substantive value most often comes with an MCO MSO. An MCO MSO is a manufacturer's certificate of origin or manufacturer's statement of origin. And what I'm looking for, this is your assignment. I know a lot of people have them and you can dig them out and everything, but what I'm specifically looking for is I want some visuals. I want some pictures of these MCO MSOs in the response in the comments below. I want you to look this stuff up and send me some pictures, because I want to point out to you the verbiage that they use in these things and where the error is, where the fraud is when we look at these MCO MSOs for these motor vehicles. Because if you watched one of my other videos, I explained about this automobile thing. See, we have an automobile industry, and in that automobile industry we have automobile manufacturers. Now those automobile manufacturers within the automobile industry is an international trade or business. And then of course we have automobile dealerships and automobile dealers, and every last one of them seems to sell, produce, manufacture, trade nothing but motor vehicles. So when we look at all of these automobiles, because there are two different distinct definitions of automobile and motor vehicle when it comes to the transportation department, and they are two separate things. We know this, it is written, and yet all of the MCOs that I know of come out with manufacturer certificates of origin that define nothing but a motor vehicle. And what I want to point out to everybody is that when you define something before it's even sold, that goes against the international contract or contracts on the international sale of goods, which is clarified in the Uniform Commercial Code, section 9-102, I believe, wherein we have household goods, private household goods. And that's wherein the automobile is classified. And within there it tells us that the product is defined by its use. Understand that. The product is defined by its use. So if it's brand new and it has not been used, it cannot be defined as a motor vehicle. Understand this. It cannot be defined until it is purchased for an intentful use. And this is where we have to clarify that intent when we're buying these automobiles from automobile dealerships being sold by automobile dealers as automobiles. We have to clarify this when we purchase them. We have to enter documentation rebutting any kind of process where the state gets ownership of that document, not the vehicle or the automobile, but they get ownership of the document that defines it when it was brand new, saying that it is intended to be used as a motor vehicle. And if it's intended to be used as a motor vehicle, the state then requires you to register it as a motor vehicle. And it's supposed to come with a statement under penalty of perjury defining the intent of your use as 50% of its use for trade or business. And yet the state doesn't maintain any kind of records, including any record of a penalty of statement under penalty of perjury. Acquiring a used automobile. Every state, Daniel C. Post asks, what about acquiring a used automobile? Every state has a form to transfer out of or export out of the jurisdiction of the state said automobile. You can use that form, I imagine, in a reasonable sense. But again, like I say, Daniel, I think it's important to use the information of the document and write up your own. And this is important in your private estate trusts. See, what happens when people get these automobiles and they put them in their trust, what they do is the exact same thing that the state is doing to us, but they're doing it to themselves through their person. Okay? They're going to buy the automobile through the person, acquire the property, and then lease it back to the person as trustee by assigning the property to the person under a trustee relationship. The person is going to be the liable party, not yourself. And that's what the state is doing to you. They're making you the liable party and not themselves by placing it in some kind of a trust. Well, what is that trust? That trust is that Social Security account where you go get your driver's license to complete the certification of the registration of the automobile to be used, at least 50% of its use, as a motor vehicle for trade or business. And this is all very specific wording that we have to correct. And so I want everybody to do this. Like I said, you have an assignment. I'm hoping you'll look up all your product MCOs and take pictures of them and post them in the comments down below so I can go through and show you the verbiage on it. Most of your MCO, MSOs for your household products, instead of defining it like the motor vehicle does, as specifically a motor vehicle, it's going to state it as most manufacturers will state it, as a product or a unit that they produce. See, most manufacturers, aside from the automobile industry, does not name the item other than an adjective such as a unit or a product. It doesn't give their product or unit a further description other than that abstract noun or adjective, which is just a renaming of the noun. A fan is produced as a fan, but it's described on a MCO as a unit, and that's just another name for it in an adjective form. But when we talk about the MCO, MSO, that's what they're doing, is they're giving it another noun form and clarifying it on that MCO that that's what it is before it's even sold. And according to their own laws, it is written. Use, or the product is defined by its use. That's their law. So you hold it against them. And we do that by bringing out all these other MCO, MSOs for all these other products, these household goods, and proving that because they have that law written, these products come out off the assembly line as units. Why does not the motor vehicle come off the assembly line as a unit? Granted, automobile manufacturers also manufacture motor vehicles, but they don't only manufacture motor vehicles. So why aren't some of those MCO MSOs coming out as automobiles instead of just motor vehicles? I know of nobody that receives an MSO MCO that says automobile. I believe they all state it as motor vehicle, defining it before its use. Can't do that. So think about this, folks, and I'm hoping you'll take me up on it, because I'd really like some help and some research this time. I don't have all these products, so I need pictures of other people's products, MCO manufacturer certificates of origin, so I can see the verbiage, so I can point this out to you. So please help me out on this. Find your MCOs, MSOs, take some photos of them, make sure they're clear so I can look at them and see that verbiage, and put them in the post below so we can further this conversation and produce some records to start taking into these courts to rebut these silly and obvious fraudulent charges being brought in every traffic court upon these resident driver's license. You have commercial driver's license where they do sign that agreement under their application form. But if you're registering an automobile to get a driver's license simply because they're telling you to, I assure you, the certification is false. This is what I was talking about a while back when we see the motor vehicle lease agreement in the IRS code, Internal Revenue Code, Title 26 of the U.S. Code, Section 7701, subsection H. If you look that up, you'll see the motor vehicle operators leases and how it tells you that one of the requirements is that you provide a statement under penalty of perjury. And if you haven't provided that statement under penalty of perjury, then the certification is false. If you provided that statement under penalty of perjury, but yet you do not use that automobile at least 50% of its use for the purpose intended, then again, that certification is false. And I assure you, if you've got a resident driver's license and no record, no time logs, no shipping receipts, no invoices stating the orders being received or delivered, transported or trafficked, or being acted upon or performed upon in a commercial capacity, then again, the certification is false. They have no record, no teal record, no such record. Bring forth the record. Where is the state's proof that the motor vehicle, as stated in these documents, is actually a motor vehicle under a certification that is valid? It cannot possibly be valid without my signature on a penalty under perjury, or a statement under penalty of perjury, stating my intent. Now, if I never knew I was signing such a statement saying an intent, then it wasn't my intent to sign it either. So again, I urge everybody to start reading these documents. When you go to the treasurer to register an automobile, read the registration paper and find out what the verbiage is. See if they're talking about leases and stuff like that, things that you're not intending to do. Because like I said, if you're purchasing items for private household goods, that's what they should be defined as before you use them, and that's what they should remain defined as when you purchase them, is household goods, private goods, consumer goods, and not a specific definition used commercially for commercial purposes and taxation. And that's exactly what a motor vehicle is. It's a definition of a commercial item used for taxation purposes. So please, again, help me with my research. Get those photos of the MCO, MSOs, and put them in the post below. And I will do my best to help everybody discern the differences so we can start advancing on this very comical thing about these traffic courts in a logical sense, and according to the words they do use. I've got quite a bit of experience of just signing UCC 1-308 and not appearing in court. I don't really suggest that, because they will still drag your ass in court if you don't know how to back it up. And that's why I'm asking everybody's help on this research, so you can help yourself. I have no need for them. I don't even own mini bikes, quads, TVs, stereo equipment. That stuff you guys have and enjoy and depend upon as fillers for your life. If you want to fill the rest of your life up with more things like that, free yourself from the expenses that aren't necessary. Traffic citations and registration and insurance is a large part of that. You can get surety bonds to cover your travel needs in your private automobile for I believe are 3-year terms for around $150. It's a lot cheaper than $50 a month for insurance that you're supposedly required to carry, and that's eaten up in 3 months worth. And now you got another 2 years and 9 months. So you can see how much cheaper it is to get a surety bond on the private side instead of submitting to this insurity and letting somebody else take care of the bonds. That's what insurance is. You're getting bonds placed. You're getting title bonds placed on the title of the motor vehicle as an insurance, so that if anything happens, the state is bonded and indemnified against all of this stuff, because you let a insurance agent handle all of it by assigning them fiduciary duties over the bond arrangements, the underwriting. When you get a surety bond, you underwrite it yourself according to your own needs. And this is much different than insurance, regulated by their commercial system. That's why we do these silver surety bonds. It creates a trust with the physical body. When we maintain these bonds ourselves, we maintain the trust of the surety. We maintain the surety as the person, and that is why we need bonding, is because we don't need dead people driving behind the wheel. You know what I mean? And therefore that dead person is liable, and that's what we have the discharge and offsets for, is because that's who's truly liable, is that person, the person of the account. So anyway, think about this stuff, people. Get cracking, and know that this message will self-destruct in 10 seconds. And I only do this because I love you, and I have faith in you. So get out there and get busy. Bye.